All right, everybody. Welcome back to another fabulous episode of How to Fix Your Brain Now That It's Been Messed Up by the Prison System. Today's wonderful topic is going to be another continuation on crowded places, anxiety in social places, in public spaces. So basically, remember how in one of the previous episodes I said, do not run from your anxiety-provoking situation. Stay inside the Walmart. Do all the different coping and relaxation skills. It's going to be easier in the long run if you just ride it out. Today's episode is, if you did not listen to me and you decided to run away, we're now going to have to do more work. That's going to be more painful to fix the situation. What generally happens is when we give in to our anxiety and we leave the situation, we have now taught our brain that what it did was appropriate, that we definitely got out of danger. And then what happens is we then look at these situations, we look at Walmart as being a place of danger. So we then become very, very fearful of Walmart. So some people, what happens is they develop something that's kind of similar. It's called agoraphobia, where they are afraid of being in public places. And it can be a small type of thing, like if you, figure out that you don't really like crowded places and you avoid things that you would normally like to enjoy because they're crowded and you have panic attacks, that could be considered a form of agoraphobia. And so the treatment for agoraphobia is something called exposure therapy. And it's basically where you torture yourself in order to get past your fear. But you torture yourself in little bitty increments. We don't want to completely torture you because then you teach your brain again to be re-traumatized. So we don't want to re-traumatize. So what we're doing when we're doing exposure therapy with the tiny little tortures is we're going to go through and we're going to list different steps to get to our long-term goal. So the long-term goal is going to be to go into Walmart, buy some stuff, stand in line, and then exit the store. This is like all things that we need to be able to do in order to function in this world. And so what we're going to do, so say your world is now very, very small. You even thinking about going to Walmart leaves you to have a panic attack. What you're going to do is you're going to put together an exposure plan. What the exposure plan does is it sets up little steps for you to get to that long-term goal of being able to stand in line inside of Walmart and be able to pay for your stuff and then leave the store. If you're at the point right now, though, that even thinking about going to Walmart gives you anxiety, then that's what we're going to be starting at as your first task in your exposure plan. So the first thing that we're going to cover, though, is something called SUDS. And if you've ever been in therapy before, they're going to ask you, okay, on a scale of 0 to 10, how intense, 0 to 10, how depressed, whatever it is. We have a 0 to 10 scale, and that's our subjective units of distress. So what you're going to do is you're going to do your SUDS, and you have 0 through 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you have your SUDS, 0 through 10, and you're going to think about what it is that causes you to do a 10. So say 10 is Walmart shopping. That is the most distressing thing that you can think of. That sends you into a panic. That sends you completely over the edge. That is something where you cannot deal with it. It is very, very, very overwhelming. Then say thinking about Walmart is a 1. So what you're going to do is you're going to break down all the little steps that you're going to have to get to number 10, to get to that place of going and walking into Walmart and going shopping. You're going to think of all the little steps that cause you anxiety, and then you're going to write them all out, and you're going to write them into your exposure plan. So you're going to have pulling up to Walmart. If that's something that causes you anxiety and that causes you to be like a 4 on your SUDS, then that's going to be on your exposure plan, and that's one of the first things that you're going to do. So after you put together your whole exposure plan, after you put together all the little steps, what you're then going to do is you're going to go and you're going to complete each step. Now, there's different ways to complete the steps. One of them is where you bring a support person with you to walk you through it, which is fine. There's also where you can take an anti-anxiety medication to help get you through each step, which is fine. But the goal is for you to be able to do these things without the person standing next to you and without the medication. Because those right there, nothing horrible is happening by you going to Walmart. No horrible things are occurring to you. Your brain is tricking you. So by bringing somebody with you, by taking a medication, by doing those things, you're still telling your brain that there's some sort of danger and that you need somebody with you and you need to take a medication to deal with that danger. What we really want to work on is completely retraining our brain to clearly understand that there is no threat by going into crowded places, public places, by going shopping at Walmart. That's where we ultimately want to train our brain. So we really want to stay away from those different things. However, if you are in such a place that you cannot even fathom doing that, that's part of your exposure plan now. You might start with that extra support, but then what you're going to do is you're going to add into your exposure plan that you're going to do these steps without a support person, without having medication. So now, it depends on where you are in terms of your anxiety. It depends on what it is that you require in order to start working on this. What you then do is you have your whole exposure plan. You have the whole, okay, I'm going to go up to the front of Walmart. What you're going to do is each day or each time, you're going to plan to do one thing on your exposure plan. What you are not going to do is be like, oh, well, I did well on that one step. I'm going to just go to the next step. Really, what you want to keep doing to yourself is giving your body the chance to calm back down again. So, say you on your first step, you have, okay, I'm going to go stand outside of Walmart because even thinking about going to Walmart gives me anxiety. Approaching Walmart gives me anxiety. It's enough that on a scale of 0 to 10, I have a SUD of standing outside of Walmart of 4. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, on Tuesday, I'm going to tackle this step on my exposure plan. I am going to go to Walmart, stand outside. What you're going to do is you're going to go stand outside. You're going to feel your anxiety. You're not going to run from it. And all you're going to do is that first step of standing outside of Walmart. You're going to feel your anxiety go up. You're going to feel it up high. Then what you're going to do, you're not going to run. What you're going to do is you're going to allow it to go back down to a 0. Then you're going to end for the day. You always want to end on a success. You always want to end on a success because otherwise you're training your brain to run again. So you go, you stand outside, your anxiety goes back down. You give yourself a nice pat on the back and you say, yay, Michelle, you did it. You stood outside Walmart today. Then you go home. The next day you go, you do that. And if it goes well again, where you don't have any anxiety, it goes up, it goes down, then you go on to the next step in your exposure plan. If you're still continuing to feel right away that your anxiety is not going down, or at least down to a 2 to go on to the next exposure, stop. What you need to do is keep training your brain that you are not in any danger. And when you're going and you're doing these exercises, these exposure exercises, what you're doing is you're doing the relaxation exercises, the breathing exercises, the grounding exercises, all that stuff to reduce your anxiety. Once your anxiety is reduced enough, and before you go into the thing, you're going to decide before you step out of the car what level you're going to be doing for your exposure plan. You're then going to do that level. You're going to allow your anxiety to peak, then you're going to allow your anxiety to go back down, and then you're going to go and leave. You're not going to decide your exposure in the middle of your exposures. This is planned. This is not fly by night. This is not like, oh, it depends on how I feel that day. All of it is planned. So that way your brain knows what to expect, your body knows what to expect, and you're able to tolerate the distress. What you don't want to do is just run into Walmart, feel overwhelmed, freak yourself out, and think that that's going to work to get rid of your anxiety. It might, but the likelihood of that working is very, very, very small. So you don't want to do that because it's going to break you even more if you screw that up. So don't do it that way. Trust me, it's a lot harder to fix it when you go do something crazy like that. So do this nice graduated exposure plan. And like I said, you go and you plan about what you want to do. Once you accomplish that level, then you go and you leave for the day. Now, say you pushed yourself a little bit too hard, or you had a rough day, or something didn't work out right, and you go in and you freak out and you cannot get your anxiety to go back down. What you're then going to do is you're going to calmly remove yourself from that level of your exposure plan and go down to that prior level. Like I said before, you want to have a success. You don't want to end on a bad note. So whatever is going to make it where you're successful, that you have beat whatever level it is, that's the level that you're going to go to if you cannot tolerate the distress at a higher level. But what you really want to do is you want to ride it out for as long as possible and then go and leave the situation. You definitely don't want to run completely out of the situation. The reason, once again, is we definitely have to start retraining our brains to say we are not in any danger. That's why we're doing this in a logical way. We're doing it in a way that we are allowing our body to get used to the stress, that we're not overwhelming it. So hopefully this made sense. If you have any questions or you have any concerns or something I said didn't make sense, please leave those in the comments. And just to sum this up, when you have made it where you can't go into public places anymore because of your fear, you're going to develop an exposure plan. The exposure plan is going to be graduated. It's going to start from the thing that causes you the least amount of anxiety and increase it up to the thing that causes you the most anxiety. You're going to do each step one at a time. You're going to be successful at one before you go to the next step. Success means that your distress goes down to a 2. Sometimes you're not going to get down to a 0. You still need to move forward. You don't want to push yourself too hard. You don't want to make yourself too overwhelmed. You want to make yourself anxious enough that it's a challenge, but not too anxious that you're going to run away. Over time, you're going to slowly but surely expose yourself enough, and you're going to realize that with this experience that nothing bad has happened to you. And then slowly over time, you're going to be able to go into Walmart, buy some stuff, stand in line, and go home. And you're not going to have to run from the situation. Like I said, if you have any questions or concerns, or you would like some additional resources in order to put together your own exposure plan, just leave me a comment in the comment section, and I will go ahead and I will try and get that information to you. If you like this, please like and subscribe. It helps me bump up this channel when people are searching for mental health help in dealing with the prison system, either working in the prison system or coming out of the prison system. So the more subscribers, the more likes, the more views, the higher up and the easier it is for people to find these resources. So please like and subscribe. Thanks.